When people get to the back of my head.
It's all good. You can get the remote, zoom in.
Did your house locate? Still thriving?
Loving it. It's been a very different semester, let me tell you.
We've narrowed it down to Lipscomb and Tennessee Tech.
She's not gonna go to Knoxville.
Not
Too big.
She has decided that she wants to be a child life specialist, which
Okay.
does not make any sense. But Tennessee Tech is one of the only universities in the nation that has a master's program. Like you go in, you
What
go
school
in
was that in?
Tennessee Tech, it's like the human ecology, early childhood development, that type of stuff.
I guess that's just arts and sciences.
Social work.
It's in social work. Okay, that's what I was trying. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's in college or nursing.
Basically, you work in what she would do, you work in a hospital setting, preparing kids for like emotional support and advocacy.
Well, that's wonderful that she has a heart to do something like that. So one of the two. So how have y'all visited?
We've been to Tech.
Yeah.
And we have another visit scheduled for them there. What, one, it's public school, it's a lot cheaper, but
Oh, yeah.
you can, when you enroll, you can come in, you do the master's program, you come out as a certified child life specialist
That's fantastic.
with a master's degree. So everything is rolled into while you're in school.
Well, I can say that we have been thoroughly pleased with Tennessee Tech.
That's probably number
Everything.
one. Lipscomb, she had a, interview there this past Saturday
Uh-huh.
for an opportunity for a trustee scholarship.
Yeah.
So we're waiting to
See
hear
what
from
that
that.
happens.
If that happens, because of the cost, it's worth $250,000. If you get that, then we could.
Sure.
Otherwise, probably go to Tech.
No, two people have had that job at Vanderbilt.
Really?
One went to Lipscomb, and the other one, she was in school with my daughter at UT Martin. So she's just working as a, I guess, assistant right now until I guess she can get a master's.
Certified.
Yeah, so she's a master, but she has her bachelor's.
I think it's a growing industry for sure. There's a lot more now.
But there's only in Tennessee, there's only a few in Tennessee. That's the issue. Vanderbilt and St. Jude, Memphis, that's about it. But what's comical about in that situation, the first girl I ever knew that had it, the girl that I was talking about now is the assistant, is marrying that first girl's brother. That's why she knew about it. That's what got it. So that's what got her intrigued about it, was that they've been.
Never learn.
But they do everything from, they can arrange for the dog to come visit and get pets and stuff like that.
Yep. Playtime. I mean, you can transition over to like childhood development, elementary school teacher,
Yes, oh, yeah,
all that stuff.
I
absolutely.
think that's what, a lot of them start with a elementary ed degree and then switch over and get a master's in something specialized. No, we've been messing with some of these because our roof leaks. We're trying to hold it off as long as we can because it's going to be fixed. We're trying to, could be fixed through a insurance claim. If not, it's going to be fixed through a grant. we got. So it's one of these look all different. Yeah, we had, this end's usually been pretty good, but for some reason this end took a beating this time with the ice, because we had some stuff up the top freeze and all our drains froze. So we had some major puddles up top. I understand flat roofs have been around for eons, but I still despise them on commercial buildings. Good, Doug. Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I'll see you. Happy New Year, right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to know each other at some point in time, like maybe.
Yeah. I didn't go like that.
It hasn't been long.
You're somebody on TV.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Doug Palmer with MPSU. Nice calls. Nice to meet you. Meet you.
Oh,
Sure. Well, you're something
it's
like-
pie
Okay. Gotcha.
today.
We just know each other. Yeah. Trying to get that thing done. So it's kind of under the whole way. Yeah. Then my next house. This is down to.
Well, let's also three. Let's say there's just three of us.
Yeah, I think three is
Three's the magic number, right?
It is.
That's a lot of pressure on those three.
That's right.
Did you hear who's coming, who's not coming?
The only one I've heard from is Gary Fayard is sick, so that's why Eric's sitting in his seat for today. Gary, he wasn't even well enough to video. So the other is, Lisa is running behind.
Right.
Well, you got the next message. So.
Yeah, I'm fun, wishing for better weather. Nice to meet you.
Kelly communicates with anybody.
Oh, that's right.
I want to go tell.
Well, I will be there.
Oh, Chris.
Yeah, you're gonna make it.
Looks like we're gonna- I printed that myself.
Partner up.
Well, Beverly sent that out earlier. And so then what you had, these things right here.
I'll print a copy to make sure that, in case somebody needs to read over it. Make sure she put it in the right spot.
Then you can pick it up.
I've been at a conference, so I was behind this morning scrambling and I was handing stuff out. So please help.
Oh, so I like this day.
We've got to come to. December.
I've got my purse at home this time today. I had to go run back home. Pick it up.
Oh, I was gonna say back to your back purse. And it's that much stuff in your back.
Oh, no. This is the real deal.
No, I didn't.
I mean, it's got everything. And that's it. Letting everything. I'm like, good. I gotta grab all that. You know what I did? I left my phone in the car though. Okay.
You like that? Can you read it?
Went all out. The balloons a little light,
It is, isn't it? That's what I was thinking too.
but I like the one. Not that much. What is the other one?
The heater.
Is that air conditioner too?
But it does do some, I mean, it'll blow air, yes, but it's not, it won't condition the air for, I know. Yeah, I still just have to rely on fans for that. Matt's supposed to be installing a blower in there, but he won't ever do it.
What did I do? A blower?
On the line, you said you're putting the blower in the AC line, and get more air.
Yeah, that's right. Why not? Get back there. About forever ago.
6 or 8 months ago.
That's right. I can't, I'll wait. Kick it up a little bit. That would get some airflow. Oh. I'm just glad to have heat or AC, I guess I should say. AC was rough.
So you got your 2, 3 units fixed.
I think I saw your daughter play.
We haven't had like a super hungry yet, though. Really test the AC with heating or great. Good, good. AC's past here.
Basket.
I'm so.
She came in late.
Oh, me too.
Is she on Panama?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, my youngest daughter. Yeah. When people talk about last time, I'm always thinking about my oldest, who's a senior. I have another that's, she's only in the March.
Yeah, so we, and they go to church.
Like on one side.
Yeah, Anna had a really good.
She had a great-
She's a firecracker. That's my youngest, senior. She's in the 5th grade, so. She looks like a giant compared to him. Brandon. Yeah. What we do.
Eric, is this last board meeting? No, no. Few more?
He
The
goes,
last one that, yeah,
A few more?
I think so,
That's good.
under protest. I wasn't supposed to be here. The rest of the management team's in Yellowstone on snowmobiles. So they're not gonna hear the end of this.
Yeah. Oh.
Ricky just pulled up. Ricky just pulled up. Grab it. You don't mind? Like that book I gave her for, that's what I gave her for Christmas, that little.
Probably appropriate.
What's that?
Doodles drew during important work meeting.
That's good.
Oh, sweet.
He's awesome.
Then here's some, go pass them around the table.
Yeah, okay.
It's your meeting now. Second chairs in.
Well, they can be here by the application.
Yeah, right.
When you see over to the.
Yeah.
The thing landing.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh.
Started down this way, you can pass me around. Yes. That one right there. Now I'm late. Are we waiting for anybody else? We have a forum now, right?
We do.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. There is the roll call sheet running around here somewhere. You should remember to sign it. And, next up would be approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
That motion. I'll second it.
All in favor? Okay, approval of the minutes of the previous meeting on January 22nd, 2026. I didn't see the meeting minutes in here. Were they in our?
Lisa indicated to me earlier in the meeting today that she did not have those ready, would ask for you to refer those to your March meeting.
Okay, great. I guess we defer those.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Deferred. Okay.
Thank you.
Citizen comments are next. We have a number of citizens. Does anybody
Want to make comment? No? That makes it easy. Monthly discussion, Paul, that's you.
Um, every year, started off with the Tennessee Aeronautics Division, now Tennessee Aviation Association is, I guess you would call it a political organization that is designed to help support airports in Tennessee. They host an annual conference. So that's where I was for the first part of the week. And their theme this year was runways and revenues, if that gives you an idea of what they were kind of thinking about. And so I wanted to just sort of give you guys a highlight of some of the things that were discussed. And so one of the things that they were really pushing on was leases. And so they had actually multiple breakout sessions about leases in reference to not only adhering to grant assurances, which that was brought up more than once in reference to the grant assurances that say that airports will strive to basically break even. And they were implying that airports need to be a bit more, not only to adhere to the grant assurances and other items that FAA looks for in protecting your airport, but also making sure that you have fair market value, that you're basically using that as a revenue source properly. One of our neighbors, for example, I was talking to their new chairman, and they have I think there's like a 55-year lease for $1 a year from the FBO. So needless to say, they're trying to make some adjustments on that and fix that. But that was common years ago. It was very common where people a lot of the cities and counties didn't have a clue what to do with their airports. So they found somebody that was interested, gave them a long-term lease and said, whatever you can do to make it happen, make it happen. And now they're learning better ways to use the airport as a proper utility. And so now they're stressing more on different revenue sources. And they really want to make sure that you're not just focusing on just selling gas, selling fuel, that there's other sources that are out there. They even had a breakout session on proper budgeting and things of that nature and how to work through the system on that. I went to the ones mainly focused on lease. So because there's software out there that helps with that to manage the lease. Because GA airports, I mean, for example, we have almost 50 different leases here right now. Mm-hmm. And we will in turn, not for long, we will have much more than that. Our neighbors to the north, they have over 100. You go even farther north to Smyrna, it's, you're doubling, well, not quite double, but he's got quite a few. Now, what they do is Smyrna doesn't have as many as Murfreesboro because of the fact that they've got FBOs that take care of those leases. And so they've leased big chunks to FBOs to manage. But that was really one of their really big things there that they, and also making sure proper insurance is out there and things like that, and requiring those in the leases, making sure your tenants are covered. One of the things that, and I want to really confirm and I want to make sure is brought out properly with our leases is reference, because we're getting more and more automobile traffic because we're getting more people, coming in and out. And so I've got to make sure that those are properly covered because of different accidents and different things like that that have been around with cars do a little rubbing, or I've had some pull out and do nothing for the airplane that's taxiing down the taxiway. But, for the most part, the airplanes have been good about stopping, but I mean, at some point in time, and they have the right of way. So, but we just have to make sure that kind of stuff is out there. I'm giving you a very broad brush of the different things that were discussed because they brought up some things in reference to, they had the ECD commissioner was there, the deputy governor. And so talking about some of the things that we're going through with Tennessee Works and some other different things that promoting the use of airports in the rural developments and the needing the airports for that, because he's one of the, he utilizes airports in Tennessee on a regular basis. And he said, one of the things, he said, they'll have a list of 100 communities, for example, on their list of places to go. And he says, their primary function is to, they look for any reason that you're off the list. They're not trying to get you to choose from one of those three. They want to get your name off the list. And so one of the first things is, on a lot of them, how big's do you have an airport? And then they start asking, do you have a big enough runway? And so they start talking about things like that to be able to mark you off the list, to get it down to a reasonable number to work with. And so it's really a push from ECD for the development for rural counties. And he brought out all kinds of different stats about how much the rural counties are growing in Tennessee, how much Tennessee's growing anyway, which most people recognize it, especially around the cities, but they didn't realize that as much as the rural counties are growing as well. One thing that came out that I was not really aware of since I've left the state, there has actually been 3 airports in Tennessee that have closed. And they've encouraged them to close, or to either close permanently, put X's, or they've gone private and not open to the public. And there was even some more discussion brought up with, because of the fact that there's no money from a tax anymore for general aviation airports. The air carriers have taken all the tax money that's been a specific set aside. And so all that's left is working with the general fund. So they have to support those that are active and those that are not active. And they want the communities to go back and actually look, are you going to support your airport? If you're not going to support your airport, you need to look at closing your airport, because we don't want to waste any money on your airport. Is the gist of it. I mean, it got almost that bad, because of the fact that now they're going to encourage, and I would encourage you too, any political influence that you have, or if nothing else, just making sure that you talk to anybody that you can at the state that works with budget. And there will be ways that I'll be coming to you at some point in time in the future, to try to get special set-asides from the state for some of our projects. Because unfortunately, which frustrates me is the fact that they're trying to keep airports open and trying to take care of the airports and keep the status quo. Those of us that exceed the status quo, those of us that have done what we're supposed to do, we're almost getting punished, because we're not getting the money that the other ones that just let their runway do whatever, or didn't take care of this and didn't take care of that. So now they got to replace it. They're getting basically new upgrades and free stuff, and we're not getting that. Because we meet standards. We are in good shape. The airport inspector that comes here looks at my airport, he just laughs. I mean, he's like, I know what I'm going to see. So he's done in 15 minutes or less, just about, just because he knows that we're taking care of everything. And so we will be needing to utilize political connections around this table, anything like that, to push for some, not only increasing the budget for GAs as a whole system, which is what TAA works for. They look at the system as a whole, not individuals, but they will nod, wink, wink over to the side that you need to work on yourself too. So we will be asking for that for whatever our next big project is. Now, you're going to meet a new project manager here for us that represents Garver, and he's going to talk about a lot of projects we got going right now. So our hands are kind of full right now, and it's going to be hard to express what we've got coming next. But at some point in time, we will be looking for some things next. And I'll give you an example just to mull over is separate fuel tank. It's on our ACIP, it's out there, but it doesn't score with the state because it's revenue generating. However, working with our new neighbors, we're going to really need, for everybody's logistics wise, it would make sense to have a separate fuel tank for MTSU. Just makes sense. It's logical. Keeps them off the taxiway, and it's fully accessible to them. And especially in the situation, if one of their trucks or for some reason something's wrong with their trucks, they can pull an airplane up to it, and it'd be rather simple. But our guys will still take care of it, take care of the fuel, so they don't have to have that expertise. We still have it, but it's set for them. State won't participate in that. So that would be a significant project because those tanks are going up like crazy as far as price is concerned. So we would want to try to work with the local legislators and try to get a set aside from the state to cover something like that. Because we're supporting another state entity. We can try it or get MTSU to help us get it from a different pot, maybe different things of that nature. That's just a big part of some of the things that were discussed, and money really came up as far as that was concerned. The other thing was emergency management that we are now going to be working on updating our emergency plans and things like that. One of the big things though is just getting to see and meet, as in most city conferences, the stuff that goes on the side that we get to talk to people and talking to the aeronautics as well, and talking to different airports and hear what's going on here, how growth is and things like that. So I know that's Eric got to stop in for a few minutes because his company had a booth there. Is there anything that you would want to?
I keyed in on those same breakout sessions that you did, the lease discussions, because it's pertinent to us as a company on the other side of this table. And then it's very pertinent, I think, to us as a board here at Shelbyville, making sure our leases are correct. One of the things I keyed in on, Edward Hadley, the attorney that was talking about separating things out of a lease and putting them in your minimum standards of rules and regs, and then just referencing that in your lease so that you can make updates to rules and regs and minimum standards without having to go back and rewrite or amend everybody's leases. And so that kind of, I keyed in on that.
Yeah, that's on my agenda for middle of the summer. Okay. Is to get those up to date, starting basically for the new FY and getting those, bringing those back to the board along with some recommendations and things like that will, because they are your rules and regulations and your minimum standards. There's not just the airports or just the cities.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, your signature is the first signature on any lease that's out there. Is when I say yours, I mean, usually it's the chairman, but at some point in time, everybody I think will be chairman. And so it is yours.
The other thing I always like, Tennessee is the first conference of the year, and then all these state conferences happen. There's a big slug of them in the spring, and then kind of a lull in the summer, and a big slug of them in the fall. And so I kind of just taken the temperature of the room and all the different vendors. It was sold out. All the vendors were sold out. So there's quite a variety of different vendors there. And just looking around at who was attending, I mean, it was very well attended this year. So
there were 280 people signed up for that conference, and in most state aviation conferences, they're happy when they get 100.
Yep. So
now there's some that have even made, some states have joined together to have enough to make it worth everybody's while.
We do that 4 states conference. Yeah. So yeah, it takes 4 states to have as many people as you had this week. So yeah, I thought it was very well attended, and everyone seemed to be upbeat. So the thought was, 2026 is off to a pretty good year economically for the airports, and hopefully that, remains true throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, they're doing everything they can to support it. And in fact, one of the things that was brought up is an economic impact studies update. So there was one that was done in 2019, and it's changed significantly. We have the information that's out there. At the time, our airport was we add about $20 million to the local economy. It's going to be more than double that in this update. And so they hope to have either a review or draft copy available data-wise to aeronautics about October. So hopefully by the end of this calendar year, they'll try to produce something that'll be out there available. And one of the things they do for us is each individual airport, they break it down. Not only is it just listed as a long sheet, but also they do they provide like a brochure for every airport that gives the stats of that airport, like the number of employees or number of people that are working or have a connection with the airport, another number of airplanes in the dollar amounts. And so it's something nice that can be added to Scott's economic packages that he sends out to perspectives. I mean, we can slide it in there and say, this is what the airport does for the community, local community, and we'd like to add it to, add you to it. So there's, that'll hopefully be coming out, like I said, at the end of the calendar year, thereabouts. Kimberly Horn's doing it as a contract to aeronautics. And it took them a little bit to get that up to date. They don't usually like to wait as long as they've had to, but hopefully I've got my meeting set up with them, I think next week or the week after next, to go everything on site so that they can review some of the information in the surveys that Katie's helped me fill out some. And it's very detailed. So they'll break it down quite well for us.
I assume included in monthly discussion are your
If there's,
financial reports and operations.
yes, any of that we want to bring up, we're welcome to, if
Because I don't see.
it was all sent, the revenue was sent out to you,
Yep.
by Beverly. So if there's anything that would want to go over, we can definitely, discuss that. If there's anything that wanted to be,
Anything of note on your operations? I really like the way 1200 Arrow, you're more graphical than Bird Tower. They're easier to get information at a glance, I think.
I mean, one of the things you might note is just I'm just trying to point out how many with all these different types of reports, just so you can kind of see the days, it's in weather, it's even reports in one area, the weather conditions that we've had the first part of January caused some issues with dropping of some numbers, but you can use this in all the different ways. This is part of the reason why I gave you Bird Tower as well, because it actually gives you the type of airplanes that are coming in here as well,
Right.
with operations with more detail. You can see multi versus business jet, and actually a breakdown of which ones are. So you can even see the size of the airplanes that are coming in and the majority of them. Anything on any of these that might. One of the things I guess that would be good to point out that was a big concern is under actually training operations. And some of you, I don't think were around when MTSU coming here was first discussed with the community. That was going to be a big concern of the community. There's all of a sudden our skies were going to be buzzing all the time. And there was the runway was going to be full all the time. Some of the complaints that you hear from Murfreesboro that people were trying to bring them down here. As you can see by that number,
Yeah.
it's not really the case. Training operations, that basically what they've done is they're able to do an algorithm, see who's doing touch and goes and things like that. So what you're seeing, those that are training are really being done by our local flight schools. MTSU is working with Doug, who's back there. They're launching and recovering from here is the idea. They can launch and go somewhere else and train. Now there's some, of course, obviously we're still a very safe field compared to a lot of those in the area. So they still would like to use those if the weather conditions require it, things like that. But it's not nearly, there's numbers that back it up that it's not training. That's not the majority of the operations are not training.
Right. Now, it's interesting looking at it. We are clearly a daytime VFR piston airport.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And, I guess that's understandable, but I also like being able to look at the operations by hours report, so you can really see where your operations are. In our company, we use 1200 Aero all the time, and it helps us allocate labor a lot more efficiently by looking at those numbers.
Yeah, it does help too when you're working with, like, for example, if you get some phone calls complaining about noise or something like that. I mean, you can, in a lot of cases, if they can say, well, so-and-so woke me up at night or it's this and that, and we're like, that was your government. That was your military that was doing that. That's not your local airport and training airplanes. That was the Marines that went by last night or something to that effect. I mean, you can see that most of the training, most of the operations are compressed to some of our guys, as a matter of fact, until summertime comes around, this time of year, our crew that closes the airport, they get rather, we have to be there. We have to, because occasionally we do have stuff come in, but when it gets close to 4:30 to 5 o'clock, yeah, they're looking for stuff to do. There's a lot of cleaning that goes on, things like that, because it really shuts down around here. And so that's for people that are saying they can't sit on their back deck and enjoy their coffee or anything like that. It's not really the case, even if they might like to say it is, but it's hard to compete with numbers.
Yep. I like both under Daryl, that combination I have in both of them. Any other questions or discussions on monthly reports?
There's a large ones on there too, just for your information. These are year after year. So you can see compared, and it keeps, this is from first hours to this. This is something we've been tracking for a while, when we got it. And,
Can that one be done as a line graph? I thought it would. might be-
it's possible. I'll have to look and see if we can
Yeah.
change it over. If nothing else, I know I can download the data and make my own, but,
I mean, if it's easy enough for them to print it as a line graph, it kind of makes it a little easier to look at a year over year instead of a month over month comparison by the different years.
Okay. I'll look into that for next month's report.
Okay, anything else on that?
No, that's what I have.
To vote on, so we'll move to old business. Hangar site process, possible RFP. This is from our last discussion last night.
I gave you a couple of things, this is as much as anything, I think, is for discussion. I'm not sure that I'm looking for dates or something to vote on necessarily, but something as much as anything, this is more for education, something for us to discuss out loud, for me to get more information from you, what you're thinking. I gave you an example. Pick this one because it's in Tennessee. It's local, from John C. Toon. They have a full staff because they utilize the Metro Nashville Airport Authority that runs John Toon as well. So they get to take full advantage of that. So whenever there's something like this, all they do is go to B&A and their different writers, contract writers, everybody else that they have professional wise can generate something. So I thought this would be a good place to start with. And it's relatively simple compared to some of the ones I saw that were like 26 pages for this and that. And so this was definitely something I could print out. I'll be glad to send out other requests that are out there, or proposals that were out there, or requests for proposals. But figured this one would be one simple to sort of kind of look at the idea. And I actually even like the way it's even titled versus it's a notice of availability is something that's I kind of like that concept, but especially towards the back is way, one of the things you can see how they're outlining, they take in certain areas. So they have they're putting out here right now, those notices for 5 different locations, 5 different pieces. I'm not as much of a fan of that. I mean, I like the fact that they break it out, and it could be something that we could show in future. But I'm more of the one that if you show something like this, it could be like parcel A is from, say, for example, February to April of 26. Then the next parcel could be June through August of 26. And then, show a time frame or something like that of when the next section might be available, when something like that, if that makes sense. But I also wanted to get your feedback of, you can see these vary in sizes, but one is as big as 5 acres and 1 6 acres, 9 acres. And then there's fall down as small as half an acre. So you can see we can adjust. And that's another reason why I sort of gave you this. This is not done. So it's not an ALP. This just gives you kind of an idea of what to play with of areas that we're talking about. It's just there's still a lot of little small things here and there that Garver's adjusting with this. But it kind of gives you somewhat of an idea that of areas that could be potentially maybe what you want to look at. I mean, you might determine today or in discussions that you want to just stick with one at a time in one location, one hangar at a time, or you might want to divide something with this particular acreage or just, circle out an area and then I can adjust as necessary or.
At this point in time, which of our parcels that might be available as development facilities, RAM?
As of right now, all of our existing site-ready locations are taken. Do not have anything until, that's why we have a little bit of time, is because, and it's good to get ahead of it, was because until this taxiway is built, that's going out, that I hope Matt's going to give me a date as to when exactly it's going out for bid, but it's going to be shortly. Some of that might be depending on Lori. As a matter of fact, with the city, it's so close. So it is, when this taxiway gets built, and that'll change things. So it'll be constructed this summer. Not sure exactly how long it would take to do something like that, but
Which
by
one of
fall.
those units?
If you look at, look just south of the main terminal, you'll see, if you look at a label, it says box hangar constructed, plan, since last aerial, and then it says 80 by 80 box hangars. So you'll see how it's labeled, sort of like that.
So this is.
So that's the taxiway that if you got it turned this way, it looks like it's going from north to south, but it's actually east-west taxiway. And that's what'll be built. And so that'll open up all of our next phase of developable area. That'll have access to not only that strip that's along the taxiway, but would allow for access to where those T hangars you see drawn there is about 10 acres. Looks a little small on this. It's hard to get a perspective on it, but it's about 10 acres that's there in total of that area that is going to open up. That taxiway will lead to 10 acres worth of developable area. The smaller hangars, these are all just recommendations, but that is really what our biggest demand is. But for a proposal, it's just, do you want to try to restrict it to something like that? Or do you want to just leave it as an area where you say, here's an acre, here's 2 acres, here's 5 acres, whatever. What do you propose for us? Because the contractors or these guys, these developers, and I'm sure John can speak to that too. He's in the corner over there on the other side, but they're going to be looking at where it's break even for them. If you're looking at something small, you're going to have volume. The big box will get you something taken care of right now, or after they are landlord for a little bit. But when you start talking about these little hangars right here, there's got to be something that makes it worth their while, because you don't make money on T hangars. It sounds horrible. And that's what we have over 100 people waiting on our waiting list for, is literally, if we built these, every one of them will be full.
Yeah.
But
When you say that, is that the 7 hangars there that will be full, or are you?
What about these that look rather small? It says, there's a label that runs across south. I know it's hard to read on this 11 by 17, but it says 10 bay T hangars, 11 bay T hangars, 12 bay T hanger, and it goes across there.
So this area.
And it's
here.
Right
label
on
across,
231.
right, it's what's right along 231 in those little small area.
So those are also impacted by this new,
Yes, you can't get to
Can't get
that.
to it.
You can't get to it now until
fill that out.
that. I mean, even if somebody's adventurous enough to taxi across the grass, there's still, it's wet over there.
But this,
So-
this new taxiway has the potential to impact the 10 bay T hangars, and then if I'm looking at this correct, 7
Yeah, 7.
hangars.
It has, this taxiway will, yes, it could potentially affect, if it was built like this, I mean, you're looking at about 50 hangars. That one taxiway starts the snowball.
And timeline on that is?
Should be done by this fall.
Yeah.
The taxiway itself is going out along with the small gray corner piece of the run-up area that's on the northern end of that you see that's just sort of that little gray blob that looks like it down there on the end.
So when you put out an RFP, would it make sense that you put out an RFP just for the developable sites at that time? So
Well, that's kind of where I'm asking you a little bit too. Do you want to get to, because we could even go farther south. If you look farther south on the runway, there are areas that, I mean, do you want something that where all they really have right down there is sewer? And I mean, there's water at 231. They have water and sewer down there, but there is no taxiway. Do you want to go to the extreme of having them put taxiway in or something like that? I mean, that's some of the stuff, I guess, that's different perspectives, different ideas of how much land and ideas on putting stuff out there like that. I'm just sort of looking for a little guidance from you guys when you're thinking about, I know that was just sort of mentioned last week, so I'm just trying to stir it, keep it, and give you guys something to think about, or give me some ideas where you want more information on things. Because it is new for this airport. We've never done that.
So can you kind of lay the foundation a little bit better for Ginger, because she wasn't here last time, and then the way that this all kind of came about was the gentleman stood up and was ready to proceed with, I believe, 6 hangars, right? And based on the way we had done business in the past, if you had spots available and someone was willing to do it, they were the first ones to come forward, then we were just allowing that to take place.
Pretty much, yes.
So then there was kind of pump the brakes on that. Are we in a position where we want to allow someone to just come in and claim up all 6 hangars without giving the opportunity for the public to be involved in that? So
Where were the 6 hangars? This property, this box area, what you're talking about right here?
That was what.
Is that what was you were
That's
talking
what
about?
initially, when they came in, yes, that's the area that they were talking about.
Okay, there's 7 on here, but he was
One of
was
them's ours.
offering to
One of them's
do-
already ours that we're going to be under contract.
offering to do 6. Is that what it was?
that's the way I understood it, that he was ready to put money down to
Mhm.
move forward in the, and I can't really, I don't want to paraphrase it, but he came before the board
Mhm.
saying that his company was ready to put money down to build and own 6 hangars on this property. And then there was discussion about, wait a minute, do we want to just give up that much
Mhm.
of our airport property to one developer?
Mhm.
And my concern was, hey, that's the way we've been doing it. If
Mhm.
we need to, if that's not the way we're going to do it going forward, we need to look into the RFP route or whatever route
Yeah.
that we are going to do. Because
Yeah,
to me,
and-
it sounds like it's a little bit unfair to the gentleman who is ready to proceed, if that's the way we've always done it, and then say, no, we're not doing it that way anymore.
Well, I think the bigger question is, do you know exactly what you want on this property? I mean, if you knew this is exactly how we want it done, I mean, that's what you negotiate out with him. Request for proposals is, we're not exactly sure what we're putting on this property. You give some general guidelines, but you're waiting to see what they come up with.
So an airport layout plan, in hopes that there's flexibility in it. But the idea is that working with developed areas, this is what experienced planners and engineers that have worked with Garver say, some of the highest and best use based on discussions of what we have. Like, for example, I'm sure they would easily say, yeah, but box it all up, big hangers all over, but because that's the easiest, quickest, fastest way to get something up. But he also knows they were aware, and they've been given the fact that we have over 100 people on our waiting list that want hangars. And we get calls regularly from others in different versions. So they were looking for ways to try to accommodate that as well. So, but these are all flexible. The biggest things are the other, which is not on this, because there's going to be more information provided on those ALPs. It's there's about a dozen pages, because they look at the surfaces to make sure there's no conflicts with different things like that. Those are the ones that are, but it also helps us out to know this is what can fit. This is what they recommend, what we recommend in discussion, and also maybe what future plans like utilities and things like that can handle.
Yeah, I think, and then my concern, our company sees the RFP process in aviation quite a bit. It helps with, right now, we have a scarce resource, which is land available for hangars. It's a very scarce resource right now, and as an advisor to the city, my advice is to try to maximize the revenue for that scarce resource, rather different than in years past where there was land available and anybody wanted to put up a hangar, we sure want you, put it up. Now, John Toon's about full, B&A's about full, Smyrna's just about full. I know because our company's built a hangar there and we're about to build another, and very, very challenging pieces of property there. In addition, with the new B&A class Bravo airspace that's coming, we are lying in a perfect spot just outside that airspace for those people that don't want to have to deal with that. I think we have something that airports around us don't have, and it is valued, I think, higher than what it used to be. And part of the RFP process is then allowing the public to determine what that value is. We can set the minimum. We know what our standard ground lease has been in the past, and we could say we don't want to accept anything less than that, but let's look at bids from different contractors, see what they're willing to pay. They'll do their own due diligence in terms of what could they get when they turn around and sell it or lease it. And then maybe put some broad specifications on the hangar has to be at least certain size, but let the developers come up with some great ideas on what kind of hangars. Do they have office spaces? Do they not have office spaces? Do they have 22-foot high doors or just 16-foot high doors? And then, we're able to then evaluate from a different playing field as to which ones would make the most sense for us, rather than first come, first serve. We don't even know what kind of hangar you're going to build. You're just going to lock up that space so that you have developable property over the next so many years. It I think adds a bit of leverage to us to maximize the revenue of the airport by going through an RFP process.
So that's what y'all want to do. Y'all kind of want to.
Well, I think we were,
Going forward, it sounds like you all think you all need to start doing the RFP process.
Or is it an RFP, or is it more of a sealed bid where you're left,
Well,
trying to identify what this property is worth for this particular development?
That would be, you hammer down exactly what it's gonna be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
Every
but
detail.
A lot of these are, I don't know what the size are, but they look on this map here pretty standard. Like on the left side looks to be one size, on the right side it looks to be the.
It says you're 80 by 80 and
Okay.
120 by 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
you could give guidelines in a request for proposal, but you probably would rather, it would probably be much better to do requests for proposals than, unless it was absolutely something you knew it had to be this exact hangar, just like this.
I mean, I do think that we don't need to be giving property away, if it's in high demand. But to me, it seems like this changes our lease amounts and everything else going forward. I mean, if it's more than what we've been collecting on them, if it's such a desirable piece of property,
Mhm.
Could we do the same thing in our lease, raising our lease rates?
Well, that would be probably a part of the proposal request to see what they're proposing. But now we do have some, we have some guidelines. We gotta get that policy. I'm not exactly sure what they say, but whatever the policy is, we gotta look around there.
I do think that our lease rate now does need to go up because we're recouping the cost of putting in a water line, putting in a sewer line, things like that. Our local share for the asphalt that's going down for the taxiway, that kind of stuff has got to be more recouped than we would where we were over here, where they help get the utilities to these spots. They put some upfront cost where now we put the upfront cost. And some of these guys over here that, in some of these that have been developed, they just got some waiver of some of the rental just to help with their infrastructure that they did on their upfront. They basically paid their rent up front. Now it's different layout, different configuration. The only thing that's not there right now, that would take a couple of utility poles, just get electricity and or gas if somebody's requesting gas, but it's all right there available on 231.
So is that what you want to do going forward, just in general? Sort of a change in practice from the board instead of when somebody walks in the door and says, I want to build a hangar here. And even if they do, somebody does do that, we want to go through the proposal process, open it up wide. Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't think that that's a terrible idea.
I think it's a great
I think it's a
idea.
great idea.
I think it's a
Instead of,
great idea.
you know, trying to manage a list somewhere that, you know, and the next one in line. But what if you forget to call that person who was?
Well, I think it's a great idea.
I think it's, yeah, it just, we think that we would be able to move forward with, you know, we're doing it individually. I guess you would be doing each individual, a request for proposal for each individual piece of parcel that you have that has the capability of being developed to a hangar or something like that.
And that's part of the reason why I gave you that. I thought Toon was a good example because of the fact you could see that it was in different
Parcels.
size.
They have 5 different parcels.
And they have it as small, I think, as a set of T hangers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you can break it apart.
You could
Some of
choose
it could
to-
be, because some of it could be if you want, bring in different people to discuss, like Garver or Curl Construction or somebody like that, bring them in and say, what would it make sense money wise? Where is the footprint that it makes sense to? And so that could choose what size you offer. I mean, if you're looking to offer a spot for 2 or offer a spot for, if you're thinking trying to go smaller.
I like the idea of not really tying down, you must build exactly this dimension, exactly that, leave it up to the imagination. Maybe a company, we're picking on Curl here, but maybe Curl comes in and says, I'm gonna send in a bid. I want all 6 or all 7 of these areas. They're gonna be these box hangars, and then this one over here is gonna be a great big office building where and the ramps will all be interconnected. I mean, it could be, we don't know the innovation that a developer might come up with on these, and to leave it to their imagination, and best case scenario, we get something we haven't thought of that is incredibly awesome.
So the request for proposal would be for them, you know, not on individual hangars, but for this amount of acreage. And for them to,
The entire parcel is what I
The
think
entire-
you want. I don't think y'all have
Okay, that's-
determined it's up to y'all, what
Yeah.
you want to recommend to council, because proposals have to be approved
right,
before Lori does anything on them. By state law, it has to be voted on by council.
I think if I read the Tune one, you could bid on 1, 2, more, or all of those parcels. So
Of the different parcels.
Right.
But I don't know if y'all are thinking as of right this moment of having more than one parcel out. But I haven't heard anything from you all that you would want to even think of bifurcating that one parcel. But what I'm talking about with these 6,
7.
7, the one's ours, but the other,
Oh,
just,
yeah.
you know, what'd you say, it's 10 acres?
Well, the whole area, if you count,
This right here?
no, if you count this,
Oh, well, no, I'm
this
just,
whole area, that's one.
I'm talking about this right here as one. Are you talking about, you would set it out for all of that?
I would prefer not to.
Okay,
That would be my thought, but that's what, another reason why I wanted to bring it before you, so that, to make sure that, to find your guidance as to what you're thinking, so that I can bring more information back to you, or
I think
or give you more data.
You limit the people that would bid on the entire parcel versus if you had 6 individual parcels that you could bid on, maybe you want to bid on 2 of them. And it's a combined bid, you know, I want 2 of these, or, because there'll be individual companies, I'm sure, that will be interested in their corporate jet but they don't want the rest of it. And then there'll be companies that want to develop the entire parcel and, let the competition begin. I think.
Well, and I could see you, and Paul, going along what you're saying about whether how many, somebody want two, what are four. If you're talking about all of that, I could see you almost dividing it here and saying, if you want to come to us with a very comprehensive proposal that gets both of those, do it, that they somehow link. Or you can do just one for where the big boxes are and one for all the little teen hangers. And
Could be.
I mean, that's the
again,
beauty of the proposal.
Right.
That's the beauty of that process.
So you just need to making sure that when we send that out, that A supports B and B supports that, we can't,
Oh, yeah. It'll
landlock ourselves,
Yeah.
anything
It will
gonna have to
take a
be.
while to craft that.
Yeah, and it all has to go back to the master plan or we've
Absolutely.
messed ourselves up.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Like, for example, if you look, this is just a small example. You see all that development down through there, but there's actually, when I'm looking at the T-hanger layout there, that's going towards the feed store. If you can pick out which is the feed store. There, you could actually end up, in theory, you don't have to build that whole section. You could end up building just those boxes and build a taxiway that gets out the backside, and you don't have to build all of it. So there are ways that you can split these apart even further if you wanted to. I mean, and they could choose saying, hey, this is for me because that's higher ground. That makes more sense to us as a developer, where the farther you get closer to that wet weather conveyance that we have down there, that is going to require some extra attention. And so they're saying they don't want to develop that. That's kind of what you're seeing on these pieces on Tune. They've already developed the stuff that's easy.
Right.
Now they're getting into the stuff that's not easy, and it's the stuff that's has a bit more cost associated with the site prep.
So in the RP, you would stipulate though that to build a minimum of 6 or 7 hangars.
It's up to you guys.
I mean, because you don't want someone bidding on it all and then only build one hangar and you got this ground, nothing being built on.
I mean, you all have to
You have- Exactly.
You have to have some performance measurements where they are building all 6 of them at a certain date.
Yep.
Because they're tying up all your land.
That's right.
That's right.
Without getting,
Oh, yeah.
so, I mean, it's just a lot to think of on your end, for sure, to make sure that it's all.
But that's one I wanted to, you might have this as a discussion item for quite some time on your agenda,
Yeah.
just to point out, and you guys give me some directions and some things, and I can bring you more information as much as I can. Also, this airport layout plan is under development right now with Garver. You're going to meet our new project manager. He's been really pushing hard to basically say, FAA, sorry, you're out of the way right now because we got to get moving. So you're going to see this fleshed out even more. You're going to see a lot of data that you guys have to approve the airport layout plan before it ever goes to the city to be approved. So you'll have a chance, and you'll probably see this kind of drawing more than you'll ever want to. Your eyes will be crossed before the summer's over.
So in adopting the request or approving the request for proposal, would that be this board saying that we give a favorable recommendation to the city council or?
Yes, I think you all need to do the work here.
Okay.
That the details need to be worked out at this table. That's what council looks to you for. You figure out what your details are, and we would have to work with Lori closely on that. And crafting, and what I would like to see is that this document is fully crafted and on your table for you to approve it as a recommendation, that it just goes to council.
And again, I can't remember which exec said that, but make sure when we do it here, that it doesn't conflict, where they allow something to be built that's going to conflict. I mean, you can look at Gallatin or Sumner County's airport. I don't remember what they call it now. They changes names, it seems like, but Music City Exec, that's what they call it.
That's right.
It's cost them millions of dollars to fix where they just let people put hangars up. And because they had to go back, move roads, they didn't meet standards. There was taxiways were too small to let jets go by, things like that, because they built hangars everywhere. And just because that was the next guy that came up, said something to it.
What's the next step? What do you need us to do for next month's
What
meeting?
would help you guys in this process? What can I do to help you in this process?
If I may say, it appears to me you really do need to think about how many you want to send out at one time. If you wish to phase it, or like, hey, we're just gonna deal with this one piece of property here. And so to me, do you want all of that in one, or is it just gonna be with the box hangers? Or are y'all wanting to phase it out and like, hey, we'll catch this one and catch this one? And so I guess knowing exactly when these properties will be open for development.
So to fill in some of those blanks that she referenced there, just to add to the fun. In that area of big hangars that you see, the first one and the first two sites on the side are ours.
The left or the right?
If you're looking at it, it's on the north side. It's on the north. So,
okay.
those first two are ours. The big boys are ours. One is, the money's already been set aside, is coming as part of the $6 million. The second one, because we were able to use some of the money, we were able to design some stuff together. Garver's already received and has started has a contract with the state to design the next one, to design the site prep and the design for the hangar for the next one. My hope is to go to the city and ask for either, I don't think I could get them to come out of their pocket with it, but at least maybe float something that the first big hangar will pay for the second big hangar.
So you're talking about this one right here.
No.
Which one are you talking about?
This one and this one.
Yeah.
Both of those are,
Ours.
Yeah, don't you want to?
both of them. are.
Both those sites are ours. Now, also, it's the ones, if you look, it's by the bridge. It's just to the south of our maintenance facility, or just next to the DC3. DC3 you can make out. Also, if you recall, right across from the other large one, just to the south, there's an 80 by 80. You have given first rights to Jack Campbell for that spot.
Which one? Show me. Which spot are you talking about?
This one right here.
This one right here,
This right here?
that small 80 by 80 hangar
This
right
one
there.
or this one? The
That
top?
first one. Yes.
So that one right, well, that takes 3 out of that whole thing
So,
right now.
Yeah, that's so like your
That's
request for
significant.
proposal is like, then you're down to basically building
4.
4 hangars that look like all the rest almost.
Well, that,
But let me- what you
this
can do.
area to this area to the east along 231, that's,
That's the jewel.
yeah. And how, that there is it is the lowest section, so there is going to be some drainage that's going to have to be taken into consideration, things like that. However, you can see that there's a possibility if you work with TDOT, you might be able to have another entrance. You can have something completely, I mean, you could end up putting if you guys were picking on Curl Construction decided they want to move from War Trace and set it up here because it's right on 231. They want to put their corporate office here and now that they're playing with hangars, they decided they need an airplane. So they're going to put their jet here too, because John will talk them into doing that, I'm sure. So,
See, that to me is the perfect reason to have an RFP, because then you've got all sorts of different ideas from a different developer or a different
yes.
company. That they might want to do corporate offices along with the hangar, or they might want to do one giant hangar, or they might want to do 2 separate hangars, and we'll end up with hopefully varied proposals to kind of evaluate.
There just happens to be a company here in town that works with metal that happens to be one of our biggest customers as far as charter flights. And so maybe you can talk them into.
So Paul,
Get their own airplane,
when we do this taxiway, these pavement areas, who's developing that?
That taxiway is being developed by us. It's part of this 2 million, but
But these will not be a part of that. Are we bringing the taxiway all the way down here?
Yes, we are bringing it down to here.
Those 2 we do ourselves,
Ramp and hangar is part of that set aside from Desjardins.
but we've also got money for that. That was our
For
2.
the site prep and design. Not for the, not
Just
for
for
the,
site
not for the,
prep, but not for the
nothing-
hangar itself.
yeah, nothing vertical.
When you say site prep, that includes the pad?
Is that in that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I didn't realize it was, I thought it was just dirt. I didn't realize it had the pad in it.
Are the details absolutely set on?
No
that?
foundation, but
Nothing, no concrete.
Yeah.
All that's gonna be.
So we don't,
That's
so we
right.
don't know what the
Okay.
size of that will be,
Um,
or do
I
we
want it-
know the
I want-
size?
I want it to be the, I can. Yes, it's being designed
Okay.
as if we're gonna put another 100.
Okay, I'm just trying to say, what are we locked into? So will we build this all the way down to here?
I'm not sure on the drawing if it comes quite that far, but it's pretty close.
Okay.
close enough that if somebody builds a ramp,
Okay.
they'll be able to close the gap.
Well, again, that's a part of it. That's what we're drawing. They've got to, if we're building that, we're committed to building that. They have to work around that. Whoever does a proposal.
Yeah, I mean, we have all the drawings to be able to show exactly where it's stopping. And it's being put in a manner in which it was easily to either extend and or attach to be able to accommodate and work with any of the others.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
So I'm gonna ask a question then, just from my own lack of knowledge on this or experience, so bear with me. Why would there be an appetite for the city to just build another hangar themselves and then enter into, if this property is so valuable, why would you just build it yourself and then enter into long-term leases with people?
Absolutely. I would love that. That is the ultimate way to do it.
Just money.
It's just, yeah,
Just
it's
money.
just money.
But if and I know it's upfront money,
That's
but
right.
if this property is that valuable,
It's upfront money,
It's up for money.
and
It's,
the
it's
city
a,
is about to spend a whole lot of money.
that's right.
Yeah, we've
We're
expended.
about to spend a whole lot of money.
And I mean,
well, I mean, can you roll this into that other whole lot of money?
Wait, no. I'm not getting that bonded bigger than it is right now.
so I mean, you're looking at, that's a common problem across all municipalities, county or city, because you're looking at a fire truck too. You're looking at, because that's his price for a new fire truck is about the same price as building that building.
What is the square footage on this large hangar that's facing the roadway? What was it,
Are these 100 by 100s?
The one that's,
this one here?
Yeah, this one from here on here. I think it's the same size, isn't it?
Is that 80 by-
120 by 100?
well, that one is, that land can actually handle something any size for the most part. You have no height restriction, you really have no size restriction, so you literally could put a 200 by 200 there if you really wanted to. There is no real restriction on that one. That was just sort of laid out there just because it's pretty common.
Yeah, eat up the parking lot.
Yeah, you could take as much as you can use as much as you really want to right there. The issue is most people, those metal spans, the more empty space you're trying to build, the price is going crazy. But you can. I mean, if you want to put your 737 in there, that's great. I'm all for it.
What's the width of that taxiway?
It was originally designed to accommodate the width of the DC-3, because at one point in time, there was some discussion of that hangar's where the DC-3 was going to go. So that's got a 92-foot wingspan.
92.
That's why, but the taxiway itself is being designed as
AV3.
so it's 50 feet wide.
50 feet. Yeah.
So the asphalt itself is 50 feet wide. So that's part of the reason why you see smaller hangars on the south side, is because of having the proper separation through there. And then the terrain behind those hangars is different. So that's the depth that we can get. Now you can, on the right-hand side, you don't have, you're just limited on depth. You can actually build a hangar 160 foot wide if you really wanted to, or more. So that's there's a lot in there. That's why I was just sort of handing this to you today, so that you can mull over a little bit and again, see how your direction might be going, and I can help you make informed decisions instead of just stuff off the cuff.
It just appears to me, I'm sorry, Junior, but given the fact that at least 3 of these are already claimed, and then the proposal is going to be much more narrow now, because there's not a lot
Yeah, we have
left to do.
And I would point out, we would need to speak to Mr. Campbell. He has basically right of first refusal on that. If he decides he doesn't want it, then we can bring that into a larger proposal, but we would have to give him that.
What are the triggers for his right of refusal, and how long does he
He's
have
waiting.
to execute?
He's waiting on us. He talks to me regularly.
So it sounds like.
So he's been asking me every time he flies in here, when's it going out for bid? When's it being built?
Okay,
Where
so
are
it's
you?
quite likely.
I mean, he's expecting the next time he flies in to see a dozer going down through there. I mean, he's anxious because his house is finished here. He's built, Unionville, is that right? Somewhere else? Yeah. So his house is here. He's here now. His Mooney's sitting over there where the DC-3 is, because he's He's flown in for starting to move stuff into the house. They're ready to move their business out of Peachtree up to here.
Okay. I guess there's really nothing that we're voting on this time. Maybe we can
Unless,
each give you some
yeah.
feedback throughout the month. So
we can do that, or we can continue to just see what you need from me, or feel free to call or email me with some stuff if something's coming in your mind that you want some more information on. Again, some of these were that I looked at were 26 pages. I mean, there's all kinds of different things, so I didn't want to print those kind of things out, but there's all kinds of different, because this is something that's not just going to go to Carl Construction. This is something, if it goes out, it's going to go out.
Probably nationwide.
It's going to go out to California and on beyond. So you got to get a lot of information about the airport and surrounding area.
right.
So Paul, but circling back to what I was saying, is this the only area that you would be interested in doing right now?
No. No,
So
you can.
you want to include
This is just,
these as well?
these will be just those are the ones that are going to be what we call build ready. These will require much more extensive, because they're going to have to build some of the infrastructure.
Sure, but I guess I'm trying to say, getting back to the way the John C. Toon one is done, when you've got different parcels, and if you wanted to kind of create a phase, we want to move to this is going to take us a year, then we're going to do here, but you can go ahead and line. So do you want to do that comprehensive of one? Or do you want to, I'm just trying to say, when in the world are we ready for that to start taking place? This
Well,
right here.
This half is available now, and they can start working on it now. That part, I'm using that as an excuse to buy some more property.
So I guess my other question is, how, if at the end of the day, you only get 5 other hangars, how does the city benefit if we charge the same amount that we are already, and for the lease?
Oh, see, that's the thing. That's the idea, is that you're not necessarily going to charge the same amount.
Yeah.
If they come in with a proposal and they're going to say how much they're willing to pay for the ground. But how do I benefit is because somebody that's willing to, they're going to make sure either their tenant is a big boy, or they're going to have quite a few airplanes that are put in there, because they're wanting their investment back. They're either going to, if Carl builds one for sale and they sell it, somebody that's willing to pay $1 million for a hangar is going to fly. He's not going to sit there and just store his stuff.
But also, you're saying in the request for proposal, it's not only for what they're gonna build, but how much they're willing to pay.
Mhm.
Right.
Exactly. So because that changes things drastically. I mean,
And we can put a floor in there.
That's right.
You would have to, at the minimum, they have to follow our current policy.
Right.
Well,
Or-
you talk to FAA will tell you your floor is fair market value.
Well, excuse me, and it should be. fair market
So that's what they say. So, do we determine and do we look, that's one of the things we'd have to look at, is just even establishing what fair market value might be.
So in that seminar, I think you were in that same one I was in, TDOT no, it's TAA has a calculator online. Will that
No,
give
that's aeronautics.
aeronautics? Okay. Is that just for hangars, or does that give ground lease amounts as well? Because they've done a lot of research on this.
Yeah, I think it was just rates and charges. I don't think it had to do with ground.
Okay. So Ginger, would this not also change anytime someone's lease is up and before they renew? They would, theoretically, if their lease is up on their current hangar,
Most of our leases have automatic options on renewals right now.
correct?
Most of them have that.
But they're not locked into a fair market value at that time. If
Well, that's
you're
what-
going out
Those
there.
are one of the things that we've been trying to do, is that at the time that those things come back up, that we renegotiate what their leases are.
So putting
Now-
those escalation clauses in there allow for that, so that you're not all of a sudden looking at somebody in
Mhm.
20 years and saying, because we've never gone up on you, now your fair market value now is, you're getting ready to double your rent. And so this allows at 3% to let that build, so that there's market adjustment is not too extreme, in hopes at 3%. We sort of picked that as what the current average was at the time. And so it was just, there might not be any adjustment at all. Everything might have just worked out just well.
That'd just be part of what we'd eventually negotiate about. I mean, they're not,
Yeah.
their proposals are really, part of it would be what the money would be up front. But that's just one of the things that we would require. You're gonna have an escalation clause in your contract, in your lease. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I just
Okay.
think that, like, when we do this, it's kind of a comprehensive study of all leases and all properties that we may have.
You're right.
To,
There is more to it, and there's a lot more that, and that's coming because of the fact that I did that, going to that session. I mean, that's something that they're really encouraging because they still feel, FAA and state still feels that the airports have been given away over the years and how they're trying to work through different aspects of ways to,
Not just us.
not just us,
Not just
no, across the state as a whole. I mean, we're better than most, but there are some that I've known that literally they talked to the county mayor the other day at church and he said, yeah, go ahead. And they showed up and started putting a hangar out there in the field next to the airport.
Yep.
That's, if you want to go see it, that's in Segowensville, Rogersville.
Yeah.
I know exactly. I mean, they still taxi across the grass to get to the ramp because they put a hangar in the field next door.
Yeah. We face the same issues in Panola County, Mississippi. We manage the airport there. Leases couldn't be found. We had to go back to county commission meetings from 15 to 18 years back
Yeah.
to pull out what the county commissioners voted
Voted
on
on.
to establish the lease. So, yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
So that's why they're really pushing for us to tighten up on the leases and to encourage you to the fair market value.
So would y'all like us to bring back for you, from maybe just to even look at our policy on that right now? And kind of where we might need to be amending our policy alongside what we're doing with this. What else would you want to see in terms of bringing in information for us to craft one of these over the next several months?
Would it be too soon to have a draft of maybe this first area?
Probably couldn't have it by March, but we could have some things working on it.
I think we need some options, you know, to,
Couple of options.
yeah, a couple of options on like, hey, this is what,
What it
you know,
would take on
obviously-
each one?
relying on his experience
Yeah.
and what, you know, what he's working with Garber, because he's the expert in this field, and say, hey, in my opinion, this would be what would best suit our airport here in Shelbyville. These are a couple of plans that I think would work. And then we look at adopting this request for proposal process. And then, you know, see if we have Richard, proponent to do this. People that are wanting to develop what you envision.
Paul, let me just ask again, if they decided to do, let's just every, imaginable property that we could develop, throw it out there. Do you have a phase idea in mind about what order that development should take place?
I have a general concept, but it doesn't necessarily have to go because it's really, like you said, it's comes down the line. So if somebody is willing and has very deep pockets and is willing to step up, they
Just
can.
like out here on this
They
infrastructure.
literally can start down here and they have it would be easy to say, here's 8 acres for you to work with. Because of the fact that they are spending, and that's one of the things I take into consideration too. I'm looking at the southernmost development. That's going to cost the infrastructure on that because of the terrain is going to cost them more to build that infrastructure. Because we don't have a taxiway there. There's a dip from that ground level to the runway level. And so that's something that's going to cost them infrastructure wise. So it, to me, makes more sense to be able to offer them a larger piece of property to help them break even, if that makes sense. Instead of just offering them a couple of parcels, if they're going to put the upfront to put that infrastructure in, it's just like building a neighborhood. They got to be able to get that initial cost taken care of somehow.
Well, one of the longest lists you maintain right now is the T hanger, right? The
That's
people that are wanting to get on a T hanger. So if you had someone that would partner with you to build T hangers,
And I
then
have,
that would, and there's a business opportunity for someone, right?
yeah, and I have been approached by a couple of different people about that. And one's gone further, pretty far, but usually when they start putting pencil to paper,
Yeah,
it
it's
starts.
hard to make that pencil.
Yeah, it does. And so you got to have the right person, the right layout, and then they're going to have to if there's any middleman at all in that process, they can't make, they won't do it.
To me, the things that are urgent are the ones that touch this.
Yes.
That we're fixing to have here.
That's right. And that's why I said we have time.
The
Just that
taxiway,
section?
if we focus on that
Taxiway.
section right now, we'll have enough to do.
Okay.
Yeah, and each time we'll learn and the SOP will get thicker and thicker each time. So
I think that's probably the wise way, just instead of tackling everything at once, since we've done this before, let's focus on this right here, not all these little ones, right?
That's right.
And as a way of identifying that in words, you would say that was the section that's gonna be opened by the new taxiway.
What taxiway designator will that have? We have them. So we,
Terminal.
just in terms of referring to it, if it was, let's say it was taxiway Delta,
Mhm.
the taxiway Delta development.
So I think
Development
it's-
area.
I think it actually will be Charlie. We already have a Delta, but I do think Charlie is available because we took, when we removed those high-speed exits or the bullhorns, as some people call them,
Right.
they dropped Charlie and this, the straight across became Bravo. And then we have the big boy down here is Delta. So Charlie will be available. So that'll be easy to remember.
Let's just spell naming rights while we're doing this.
We can.
Okay, I suppose there's no vote to be taken then.
No, but I've got
Let's bring that stuff back.
Yeah, I've got some marching orders on that.
Okay. That's all that's on old business, Paul. Is there anything else?
Nope.
No, okay. So we'll move to new business. The only thing I have under here is rate review tie downs and end units.
Yes. There has always been, for the most part, discussion and a lot of attention made to not only ground lease rates, but also the T-hanger rates, because those get the biggest, has gotten the biggest attention. In the meantime, these other rates have just sort of been stuck over to the side. What you've got with an in unit that has really not been properly, in some of it's my fault, some of it's other managers' faults because of their location. They don't really look at it as non-aeronautical, but they are. Those in units are not, you can't put an airplane in them. So if you talk to FAA or you talk to other development, non-aeronautical rates are higher than aeronautical rates. So these in units have been currently are $55, and we have 6 of them total. Now, all but one are currently under lease. One of them actually is not under lease, but it's occupied because of a previous airport manager who just let somebody do whatever they wanted to do. That it still needs to be worked out, but we need to adjust those up, really. We need to adjust that rate up to because that's the cheapest storage in town, for one thing.
You only have one available, though, right?
There's only one available, but they are established the same way the T-hangers are. Their lease is established the same way. You basically have, they're 30-day leases,
The month,
month to month, and they can be adjusted with 60 days notice, I think is what it is. So we
What's
can,
the size of them? How big are they?
they are 30 deep and about, I think they're 20 wide.
That's pretty big space.
It's a big space. The issue is it's only accessible by, it's only accessible by a man door
Yeah,
unless you happen to have one of the T's that butts up against it.
and then you can make your own door.
Then you can drop the panels, which is what's been done by most everybody. This past month is this is the first time we've had a gentleman that's approached us to just rent that. And so we've had to, for the most part, had to get a waiver from the 2 airplanes next door to say, let him have it. They were like, we don't need it. We're not going to use it. It also happens to be their same guy has both airplanes, and it's Mac Air, or not Mac Air, but it's Charles instead of Mac Air. Charles by himself, and he happens to have, worked on those airplanes before, so he's
We're charging 55 right now. Just as a frame of reference, what would a self-storage of the same,
600 square feet. Is that what it is?
is that what it is? Yeah. How much would that be?
The only thing I can't really compare exactly apples to apples because of the fact that most storage units, you have a roll-up door that's available to
True.
get big stuff.
Yeah, it would be somewhat less,
So
something less.
somewhat less, but you're looking at about, most of those at 600 square feet. You're looking at $300 a month.
And then what is our hangar? Is the final frame of reference, what is our T hangar going at?
Current rate is,
4290.
they just had that recent 3% increase, so it's at 442.90.
What's that a square foot? Do you know?
44290.
Yes.
Did you say that they were 30 foot deep, 20 foot wide?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 600 square foot.
It's kind of got an odd shape to it because it cuts into the airplane. So it doesn't, I can come up with that doing the math, but it can give you the drawing. But the idea though is that it's not the same rate because you're aeronautical versus non-aeronautical.
Sure.
So, but I do have I have to look it up. I do have the information, but it's 43 foot wide. Let's see, how did I have exact square footage? Used to have that in my head back when we were first discussing.
I
it, but I
remember we made all these
but I-
drawings and did the math. I remember that meeting.
And I replaced it with other stuff since then, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I don't have that for you right now, but I can get it. I can get you that information, but by the time I dig it up and do the math on it, it'll be. So it is current, they are, no, 938 square feet. Found the information, 14-foot door, 938 square feet. Just got lucky, I thought.
And the airport doesn't have a need for any of that space for storing equipment or supplies up in that area, does it?
We've cleaned out anything that was in there for the most part. We would probably have stuff in it if we had a big roll-up door.
Yeah.
But since we don't, it sort of limits, we've used it for other departments have actually used it to store their stuff that was to go out on gov deals because they were replacing chairs or whatever, but we've gotten all that emptied out.
And then the only other question, some airports use those ends to create a bathroom up there.
One of the units is plumbed for a bathroom, but it does not currently have that. And we're looking at making space for that on the shade ports that are coming in because we already have the water tap. With this new water project, there was an extra tap that was left from when we had a wash rack. And so we're looking at utilizing that tap in a future project after the shade ports are done, which would allow for not having to go back and try to dig underneath. And
Right.
there's some conduits in there and things of that nature and some piping here, but it'd make more sense to go ahead and do
Okay.
to do a freestanding bathroom elsewhere, just because of sewer as well.
I say we
double.
yeah, or at the very minimum, when we have more than just 3 people here, you provide us a rate that you're suggesting for our next month. And then when we have more than 3 people here, we vote
I
on,
think double was a little easier than I was looking for, but I'm even good with that because it will take time. It will
Well,
take time to do.
I think I'd feel more comfortable if we had more than just the 3 of us here.
Yeah.
That you propose an amount to us that we're all comfortable with going forward.
I like that idea. Yeah.
Okay, all right, we can do that. So moving on to tie downs then,
Probably the same thing.
okay, because they are currently $50 a month.
And if you would, when you present that to us, if you could just give us some similar airports, close by what they're charging and what you propose that we do, then we'll have a rate that we could.
So I get to go to Nashville and get their tie down rates in Nashville.
Yeah.
'Cause that's-
No. Comparable airports.
there's not really that much that are close to us that are comparable to this place. This place right here ain't no shaggy anymore.
Right.
I gotta figure that out. We're
got
not
to-
gonna give it
We
away.
we can't keep giving it away.
No, them days, the giving it away days are over.
So, give us some rates at next month's meeting. We have more than 3 here. We,
Okay, I'll give you some samples of the general area.
Range.
We usually try to be towards the top, if I can. That's what I work for because of the fact that I can't towards the top of the range area. Because I don't have any more tie downs areas. But it could be that we break them apart because I do have some areas that are not improved as well as these up front. So I think that's an option out there as well. That I'll bring back to you.
Two-tier.
And I don't know if this isn't anything, but at one time, I remember in a meeting you suggested, or somebody suggested, a dedicated tie down spot might cost more. Like if somebody wanted a dedicated spot, did I dream that?
There has been some discussion about that because a lot of them do that. They prefer it. Like, for example, our bigger airplanes.
So that
like
it
those
wouldn't be
ones.
gone and they'd have to hunt a spot when they got
They
here.
like to work on the corners or something like that. Also, we have itinerants. Right now, we're taking advantage of the DC-3 not being here by letting itinerants park in those spots. But all of our tie downs are done.
We have a list for that as well, the people on the waiting list for that.
Yes.
So far.
Much smaller, but there is a list. There's about 30 on that, 25, 30.
Well, that's still a lot.
yeah.
We are trying to find ways to add some more space in Shelbyport project, but that again is not till fall by the time it's completed.
Okay,
Good,
good.
very good.
Rate review was the only thing under new business. We'll move to other business and announcements. I have construction updates under there.
Okay.
So here's where we get.
We have a new Matt.
Hello,
I'll let him introduce himself, give you a little highlight about.
new Matt.
So, I am Matt Cost. I'll be taking over for Garber at Shelbyville and got a lot of irons in the fire. I've been drinking out of the fire hose, talking with Paul over the last couple of weeks. Feel like we're starting to make some good progress on quite a few of the initiatives. Particularly, a lot of the work's been on the $6 million and how that's being spent and where that's being allocated. So on that topic, first thing that really came to mind for me was to go ahead and start seeing how we get that encumbered and that grant written. And I've really been pushing that forward with both FAA and the state, trying to hit it from both sides, seeing whichever one knows the fastest path, because I want to make sure that that's getting encumbered for you guys and that those projects are moving forward. So, so that's been good, and I think we are making headway there. Right now, I'm working with the state, John Briggs, to talk about what exactly he needs in order to write that grant application, because since it was a direct appropriation from the federal level, it's a little bit different than what people are used to doing. So they're pretty much having to work with the Memphis FAA folks to develop the process as we go. So tip of the spear kind of stuff.
Turns out Memphis doesn't really know either.
Yep.
They lost 8, they told us at the meeting, they've lost 8 employees.
Yeah.
And have not been able to replace them. So, and it was mostly upper management that knew what was going on.
So we're pushing that forward. I figured it's much easier for us to help them write the process than to wait for them to develop the process. So that's really the approach we're taking there. As far as individual projects. So first up, ALP, as Paul had mentioned, you guys saw a little preview of that one, although it has been kind of a start. It's been a case study in starting and stopping because of regulatory reviews, both at state level and at the federal level. Paul came to me and said, "Hey, we got to get this thing moving." So we've gone ahead and developed a revised schedule. And as he referenced, I've been cracking the whip, making sure everybody's moving forward, mainly on the review side, making sure that decisions are getting made quickly. So the plan for that going forward is we're planning on turning in the 60% submittal to TAD for their review on April 30th. Then we're tracking the 90% submittal turned into TAD on July 31st, with the final submittal to be published on September 25th. Once that final one goes out, then it kind of gets out of our hands as far as when it gets signed off on and reviewed. And Paul knows probably more about that process than anybody in this room. It is his former work.
Yes.
So, but we are trying to make sure that it's not languishing on anybody's desk.
So once that, not the final, but the one right before it will be brought to you.
Yeah.
For your review and your acknowledgement, and make sure we're on task so that there won't be surprises, because once the final is approved by TAD, it's got to go all the way through our approval process here as well. So the idea is that you have a chance to review, and anything that you're not pressured to have to sign it today without making revisions that's necessary. And it gives them that 10% to make that revision.
Let's
Hang on, Matt. I want to say just for more information real quick. If you recall, when we expanded that ALP for time frame, we also added tower in there as well. And we have, it was what, yesterday or day before yesterday, officially 2 days ago, officially submitted all of our information, all of our application to FAA.
That starts the 60-month clock, or?
It does.
Yeah. Wow. Excellent.
So let's see, we'll go ahead and we'll run through some of the ones that $6 million are tagged for. So the run-up pad in the midfield taxi lane. So that, or taxiway, that's the same taxiway you guys are just looking at. Those plans, in fact, I got a notification in my inbox that the final draft was ready for my QC review while I was driving down here. So I'll be doing that and then talking to Lori. I expect those to probably be advertised for bid next week. That's my goal on that one. That is packaged with that run pad. Originally, they were being run as two separate projects, but since it's all just paving work, it's a little bit of site work, there's no reason to keep those split. I'd rather bundle them and make it a more attractive project for prospective bidders. The next one up is that the large box hanger, the one that was 100 by 120. So that's one where Paul and I have been talking over the last couple of weeks, and we've got kind of his scope finalized on that as far as what it's going to be. I've already had the design kickoff meeting with my team. They're starting on the plans today, actually. And we've got a really aggressive schedule on that one to get it through design and get it out on the street for bid. Right now, I'm looking to have a bid advertisement out on that March 17th. So that one's moving pretty well.
What door height and span opening are you looking at?
So we were looking at an 80-foot wide door with a door height of 25 feet.
Good.
So big enough to give you a lot of flexibility, but not so big that it's triggering some of the,
Yeah, the foam stuff.
yeah, some of the more burdensome fire protection measures. Okay. So let's see. The next one that I had was some terminal upgrades. So that's one where I'm still trying to get my arms around it, and I've got to set up a meeting with Paul and the architect. I'm going to try and do that for next week so that we can kind of feel like that one's been kind of the tennis ball that's been batted back and forth a little bit. I want to just finally take it and figure out, okay, how do we turn this into a project that can be designed and bid so that we can get that thing finalized.
Just for your information, Lori's working with the architect now just to update all the proper numbers because it's gone before council and all the terms are the same, but it's just, when the cost now is, because it's been so delayed, the cost is so much higher that there has to be some adjustments on their side as far as a number, but the way they're handling the contract, the look of the contract is all the same. They just got to make sure that all the dates are adjusted.
And that's for the upstairs and the elevator.
That's correct.
That brings us to the Shayports. So the Shayport design is underway. We had a kind of a layout drawing given to Paul, was that last week?
Yes.
Just to verify it was checking all his boxes of what he wanted to see out of that. I think we've got that dialed in, and I've pushed that one with his blessing into final design. So my design team is working on that. I expect that bid advertisement probably late March, early April, is what I'm thinking. That one is a different funding stream that doesn't fall under that $6 million. So dates don't track quite the same on that. And then the last one that I had on my list here was just the gorilla in the room, MTSU Aeronautical Development. So
He inherited that one too, by the way.
yeah. So I inherited all these, but that's all right. So MTSU, I've been talking with the construction management team and university and the architect team to try and get that thing through codes. Right now, in fact, my next appointment of the day is going to be going down to see some of the folks at the city, because we are currently waiting on their comments and for them to schedule the pre-construction meetings. And they're going to start turning. The only other thing standing in our way is the notice of coverage from TDEC grading for the dirt movie, and that's tracking on a March 3rd delivery date, is what they told us. So I was on the meeting for that project this morning with all the stakeholders, and the session was big crossed. You'll be sitting down with the construction meetings. But big fingers crossed. So, yeah.
Now you can see why that's a standing item on our agenda as well.
Yeah.
It's construction update.
Yep.
And it'll probably be there for the next 8 months.
Okay.
At least.
Any other announcements?
Aviation Day, April 25th. Don't forget. Anything you got that you want to bring, please do. Anything related, we're getting some, we're having a meeting actually this afternoon about that with the committee that's helping put that all together. We're getting things rolling properly, but actually just found out today I don't know who exactly asked to be here. It's great because I think they're coming in for another reason. I hope we don't scare them off, but we have
Jet,
a citation
525.
that's coming in. Just happens to be their arrival is set for the same time that right as Aviation Day starts.
Perfect.
They're getting here at 11. I mean, Aviation Day starts at 10. They're getting here at 11 and they're hanging out till the next day. So
What day is Aviation Day?
April 25th.
25th.
It'll be pretty much
Cool.
the same.
Yeah.
We need to get insurance.
That's right. Yes. And
You looking for static exhibits?
oh yeah, I'm looking for everything.
I wonder if Corey can bring that.
That'd be great.
Oh,
Any of his stuff.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, you should just bring them all.
Well, the wings are off the widget, so.
He can bring that too. I mean, it was pretty entertaining watching him drive it down the road anyway.
Yeah. well,
It'd be good to bring that down in pieces too, because it's amazing what people enjoy to the point that we're setting up a display on purpose, working with Mac Air and some other car guys to have a demonstration across with their motors. Because that was a mistake one time where the cowling was off one time and people walked by it and they just sat there and stared at it. And it was hilarious listening to the different comments. But we want to be able to have a display that sets up that has our neighbors involved, like Music City Cart and Tennessee Downs, where they're bringing in some cars that can lift the hoods and see the differences in those engines versus the airplane engines too. I'd love to be able to find a way to get a turbine engine in there. Haven't got that just yet, but I'm hoping to make a turbine engine along with a regular piston engine as well.
Cool.
If we have a turbo prop, that's cool.
Yeah.
Gary's Meridian, you can have that.
There you go.
It's cool looking at it right now.
All right. Anything else? All right. My favorite, point on the, meeting, I guess, call it adjourned.
Thank you.
I like that.